everyone! Today is the first day of the O.W.L.s magical readathon and it's 10 a.m. because I slept through the night. Today I have 8-hour classes and tomorrow it will be the same, unfortunately. But I thought we could pick the first book that I want to read, since I have 4 audiobooks that are easier to read in between classes. And I wanted to use a random wheel, a randomized wheel on the computer to choose. So yeah. So I have here the 4 books. It's Vita, Nostra, The Strange Library, Nevernight and Little Women. And let's see. Yay, it's Vita Nostra! Okay, so the wheel chose Vita Nostra, which is the one that I really wanted to start first because it's the most intriguing and the one I know the least about. So I'm going to start now my urban planning classes and then I'm going to start my audiobook.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so I finally finished my classes. 8 hours are a lot, especially if you're doing numbers upon letters upon... oh my god. Anyway, I am roughly 10% through Vita Nostra in my audiobook, and so far it's very weird, which I expected. Our main protagonist is called Alexandra, but she calls herself Sasha. I don't know if it's her second name or just a nickname. I have no idea. She's on vacation at the beach and she encounters this very scary man, and every time she... my dog. Every time she sees him, she gets scared and she says, "Oh, I want this to be a dream," and she wakes up like it's a dream, and she leaves the day each time the same until she speaks to him and he's like, "I have tasks for you, and if you don't complete it, something bad is going to happen." And whenever she completes them, they're very weird but mundane at the same time tasks, like swimming and touching a boy, or running around the park and then peeing on the ground. So odd. But if you don't complete them, something bad is going to happen. But if you complete them, you're going to cough some coin, like vomit, throwing up some coin, and you have to keep them for sake. And this is all I know until now. This is roughly 10%. I am intrigued because I don't know what's going to happen. I thought the writing was going to be a little bit more like purple prose, like flowery, but so far it's very simple and to the point, which I can appreciate. Now I'm going to go finally on a walk. It's such a beautiful day, and I'm going to listen to some more of my audiobook. Okay, so I'm roughly 16% into the audiobook, and I've learned why the book is called Vita Nostra. It's from apparently a song of the school that the protagonist goes to. So it's not in Italian, it's in Latin. The song has the weirdest Latin phrases. There is a thing here, particularly in the town that I have been born in, that it's called Padova or Padua, and it's called the Goliardy. So it's a thing that refers to university and each faculty. So for example, each faculty has its own colors, its own motto, its own kind of crude humorous songs, and this is just like that, but in Latin. The narrator reading the Latin song was a shit show. I have no idea why all the V, like the V, like Vita, she pronounced as U, like Vita nostra, we want. I didn't understand anything. I had to go to the book and read through because it was so incredibly odd, that pronunciation. I don't know if that's how they read Latin in the UK, because she has a British accent, but I don't know, kind of odd. Now, I was listening to it while doing this little gouache painting. Not my favorite. The color theory, who knows her? I don't know. But I don't know, it's a present for my grandma for when this whole virus thing will end and I will get to meet her again. But yeah, I will check with you later or tomorrow, we will see. Oh, okay. Hello, good morning. It is the next day and it's 10:30 a.m. I've just finished my first class, my hydraulic construction, and yesterday night, or like this very early morning, I stayed up late finishing the first half of Vita Nostra. So I'm roughly like 45-50% in, and I have to say, I am very intrigued. This story is very weird. The structure of the story is odd, like very odd. But the pacing is perfect to keep you engaging, even though the story is so like oddly constructed. The main character, Sasha, I get why this book is called Metamorphosis, because she is changing. She studies and day by day she changes into like not a new person but a new creature. Like her mind starts to change, which is very interesting. I'm very interested to see how it is going to end, because I cannot foresee an ending to this book. I know this is a series, but the first book is a standalone and the others have not been translated yet from Russian. So I hope this is a standalone, because waiting for a translation can be excruciating. Today I've been inspired by Vita Nostra, I think, like subconsciously, because I didn't do this on purpose. And I'm wearing all black and I'm wearing a dress, which I never do. I never wear dresses. And my makeup, I don't know if you can kind of see, it's kind of dark. So today I'm a dark lady. I hope today, even though I have another 6 hours of classes and I have to practice my flute, because tomorrow I have flute lessons on Skype, I hope today to finish another chunk of Vita Nostra and to have it finished by tomorrow. We'll see about that. So apparently Script is having some problems with their audiobooks and they're not playing. They're working on like getting them online as fast as possible, but in the meantime I thought it would be like fun to use the randomize wheel to pick my physical book, like my second book, to read in the meantime. I have 4 choices, again 4. So let's see. So I have here Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hearts in Atlantis, Talon, and the Nowhere Girls. So, let's see. Huh. Oh my god, I didn't know about the sound effect. But it's the Nowhere Girls. So apparently I'm going to start the Nowhere Girls, which the synopsis in this Italian edition is so vague. It doesn't tell you like any names, any plot points. So there's only like a letter written by the Nowhere Girls, but it doesn't tell you anything about it. So I don't want to read the synopsis on Goodreads and just like go in blind. So I think it will be fun. I am sorry, I have to interrupt my reading because one of the protagonists just said, I am translating roughly, but biology is a science made of stories, not equations. I'm sorry, but what? I don't agree. I'm a civil engineer, but one of my best friends is a biologist, and I can assure you there are a lot of equations, ma'am. Never mind, she has a cute dog, so I forgive her. Ooh, fancy lights. Good morning, it's the next day, and we're about to head out to like stroll around with my dog, because it's the only thing that you can do. Oh, hello. And I will be listening to some of my audiobook, because audiobook have been restored on script, so yeah. I had to get rid of my lipstick because I had my flute practice. I'm still like polishing it, but I am now 70% into not Metamorphosis, that's the original title, Vita Nostra, and it keeps getting stranger and stranger, and I keep getting, it's a strange feeling, like when you're reading a book and you're so invested, and the things that are happening in the book are so odd, so eerie, that you yourself feel eerie, but it's a beautiful sunny day outside. It's like watching a horror movie in the back of your head, but it's not really horror, just suspense. So it's so strange, such a weird experience, but I'm glad I'm reading it. Like it's a very unique experience, and the book it's entirely like its own genre, and I don't know, there are those kind of books, there are like just them, and it's the entire genre, just them. I have been reading sporadically the Nowhere Girls, and this is a bit of an unpopular opinion because apparently everybody loves it and gives it 5 and 4 stars, but and this is a very like, I am conflicted. This is a conflicting issue because the translation is horrid, is appalling, the writing is terrible, but I am sure, because I can see through the cracks of the translation the English writing, like the original English structure, I can see it through the cracks of the Italian, the poor Italian, because Italian and English have very different structures, so you can recognize when one hasn't been translated into the other as it should, like from one to the other structure. So the writing is one thing, but also the characters. There is one character whose name I keep forgetting because I don't like her at all. She wants to be like a biologist, I think a marine biologist, and she says things about science that like really irks me, and she has like a terrible attitude, but they say it's because it's she has Asperger syndrome, I believe it was, but I have no idea if this is like Owen's voices or something like that, if the representation is correct, but she, and also the other characters, because they are not immune to this, are very like, they keep on getting on my nerves, and I don't know if it's the writing, the translation, or what, but I don't like it. Nevertheless, the message that it talks about, because we're talking about rape and assault on a high school girl, which is like one of the most disgusting things that can ever happen. It's very important. It has to be talked about, and I'm glad there are books like The Nowhere Girls. On the other hand, I am not enjoying myself at all. Also, the male characters feel like paper-thin figures. I don't know if I have been blessed with a high school experience that was not the greatest in the first years, but it became greater and greater. We in Italy stay in school until 18, 19, so it kind of a long time, and then we stay in university until 25, so it's kind of different. But I never heard, even in middle school, and I had terrible classmates in middle school, I never heard boys talk like that, talk so disgustingly about girls. And I'm sure there are boys like that and people like that, but man, I don't know if I am just lucky, or because the only time I've heard people talk like that, it has been in American TV shows. So I don't know if my perception is morphed by that, or either way, I want to proceed in the plot because I'm very curious about. There's kind of a mystery right now, so I want to know about that. Wow. So I might look a little bit disheveled because I've just had my flute lesson online, which was... I am... I prefer one-to-one lessons. I have no idea what my teacher heard through Skype of my flute, but this is my handy-dandy music stand, which for him it's so broken. I treasure him so much. I film with this sometimes, but I am almost, well, not almost, I am 85% through the audiobook for Vita Nostra, and it keeps getting weirder and weirder, and I have no idea how it will end. I will update you once I reach the end of the book, because I am so curious, because it's such an odd book. But I am enjoying myself so much. Every time I think, oh, I have some free time, I should like take a nap, or I don't know, go online, watch some YouTube videos. My mind keeps going to, oh no, you can read Vita Nostra, which is great. So yeah, I will update you once I finish Vita Nostra. Good evening. It is 20:45 and I'm just now logging in because I am near the end of Vita Nostra and I suddenly understand everything. Has been a journey, this book, because as a liceo student, which is a type of high school here, I took 3 years of philosophy, as it is required for everyone, and this book is like the novelization, can I say that? The making into a novel of those like philosophy, Magnus Opera, the books that philosophers wrote back in the day, saying to reach enlightenment, to reach the path towards light, towards speech, towards towards understanding the concept of our world and life, you need to follow the steps. And this, Vita Nostra, is the novelization of that. I understand. I now understand. This makes so much more sense. And I'm so glad I studied philosophy in high school. I am so glad I took those classes, even though they were mandatory. like we cannot choose classes in high school, but yeah, I understand so much. Good morning. It's Sunday and I finally finished Vita nostra. I didn't finish it yesterday night as I wanted to because I fell asleep. I was so exhausted. I finished it this morning and I have so many questions. I had many more at the beginning of the book and some were given to me, which I'm very happy about. But some are just left like unsolved. Some mysteries are left unsolved, and I'm kind of okay with that. It's kind of an open ending because some of the things get resolved and some like don't, because there are still like in Sasha, the main character's education at this school in Torpa. There are, I believe, 5 years at least, and she only gets through 3 in this book until like one very big exam, and there are still like 2 years to go, so some of the things are not yet resolved. But I feel exhausted. This book took everything out of me. It was like going on a very difficult and treacherous journey with the main character. Like you go along the mistakes and the transformation of the main character as you were going through that, and it's very, as I said, exhausting. I am very glad I read this book at this age, because if I had read it before, like at 15, 16, I wouldn't have understood anything, because I still, at 15, I was still in high school for sure. I was in my second year of high school and I still wasn't taking philosophy. So now, right now, in university, having taken philosophy in high school, this is the perfect time. I'm also glad that I'm not like 30 or 40, because I think that book wouldn't have hit so hard if I had been older. Is this the right tense in English? I have no idea. I probably will be thinking about this book for a very long time, which is very good for a book to leave a long-lasting impression on you. But right now, since my head is full of Vita Nostra, I think I will not go back to Nowhere Girls, because it deals with like another heavy topic. I think I will start Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, the third Harry Potter book. Something very familiar. I have read that book many times, so I know the plot, I know the characters, but it's like returning to your cozy home on the mountains during Christmas Day while it's snowing outside, which is very comforting, and that is what I need right now. Yeah. So the book opens with Uncle Vernon like spitting into Harry Potter's face, and my first thought was, social distancing, please. This quarantine is getting to me kind of hard. So apparently this is the reviewed version where all the names of the characters are kept as original. So in the movies and in the original like print of this book in Italy, like Cornelius Fudge was Cornelius Caramel and Neville Longbottom was Neville Patchock, and they revert to the original names, which is more like to the original book. It's more like a loyal translation, but I am so used to the translated names. They're in the movies, all 8 of them, all they're in the original series that I read as a kid, and I don't know how to feel about these names. I don't know, reading Neville Longbottom is so weird after 20 years of Neville Pachok. So, I don't know. Oh wow, I'm very overexposed, but this is the sunshine, which feels amazing. I'm getting some sun finally. But I am on the scene where Harry gets to test out his firebolt for the first time, and I have forgotten that Draco Malfoy and his like minions try to scare him off with a Dementor's costume. I forgot about that. That's hilarious. Oh my god. He's such a little shit. Oh my god. You have no idea the amount of inhuman noises I made when my mom brought me this. It's finally here. 2 weeks after I bought it and it arrived at my other house, my house. It's here. And I fear for my readathon because once this is in my life, the time I will spend reading will be considerably less. So yeah, I'm so excited. I want to do a little gameplay for this, like teeny tiny, a bonus video, maybe in Italian because this will be in Italian for me. I will add subtitles, but yes, if you're interested in that, I can do that. But yeah, it's here. I'm so happy. I've been waiting for this for so long. Okay. Hello, good morning. Yesterday night I finally finished Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I am so happy. I really want to rewatch the movie after I read this because I realized that as a kid I was so scared of Lupin transformation into a wolf that I didn't want to watch the movie. This is the book that I read the least amount of times. I think I read this only 2 times, and the rest of the series I read like 4 times at least each book, aside from the last one, because it's so like such a tone shift from the series, which is the plot needs that. But yeah, I really needed this in this time of quarantine. It makes me feel like right at home. So now I have to pick my next book, which I really want to play Animal Crossing, and I really want to read the book. So what Book Twitter suggested me was to play Animal Crossing while listening to an audiobook. So I will use the magic wheel to pick my next book. Okay, here we go. Little Women, Strange Library, Pretty Girls. Let's see. It's so loud! But okay. Okay, so I will read Pretty Girls here, which is a thriller. So listening while playing Animal Crossing is going to be a, interesting experience. Oh wow, I'm getting tan. I put on some self-tan and I stood in the sun and it's kind of working. Yay! But since I'm having so much fun with Animal Crossing New Horizons, I thought, since one of my friends had ordered a Switch, but they dropped it off in another city at like 100 kilometers from here, and I have New Leaf that I'm not going to use anymore, I thought, well, she has a 3DS, so I'm going to drop it off to her. Eccola! No!
so.
As I thought yesterday, I spent all my time on Animal Crossing New Horizons, which, you know, can you blame me? And listening to a thriller while there's Animal Crossing music going on is not really the best for atmosphere, so I stopped listening to Pretty Girls. But yesterday, also, a girl messaged me on Twitter that she wants to buddy read Nevernight with me, so I'm starting Nevernight. I also have the audiobook, which I think is going to be less traumatic, like less of a shock to read while Animal Crossing music is going on. So I have this beautiful first edition of the Italian translation, and it's so pretty. Look at it. It has sprayed edges, and the whole trilogy has come out in Italy with this is red, there's another one that's yellow, and another one that is blue. But also, surprises are not finished here. One, it's beautiful on the inside, but two, there is a crow and feathers, and there's a freaking map. There's a map. They never do that in Italian editions, never, because they cut the cost, because, you know, translators cost, and so you cut on the pretty things. So yeah, I'm so excited. This edition is so beautiful. It weighs a ton to transport, but since I'm stuck at home, it's perfect. So yeah. Okay, so I finally finished my classes. I am so excited to be done because I'm learning right now how to build and measure roads for cars. And if there's one thing I don't care about in this moment, it's cars. I don't want to see a car ever again. Pollution. But I've started the audiobook for Nevernight, and I have many things to say. For once, the narrator is super good. Like, it's so great. He does all the voices, and they're all like so different from one another, so that's great. The writing, I get why people are like either super in love with it or they hate it, because it's a very particular style of writing. I am not like hating it or loving it at the moment. We will see how it grows on me, if it does. Either way, I'm kind of enjoying the story. It's very mysterious so far. They're talking about an assassin, so we shall see. Okay. Good night. Good evening. It's quite late right now, and I am currently editing this vlog, and I realized I never like ended it or said goodbye. So I am on chapter 6 of Nevernight. I am really enjoying myself. All the little notes that there are into the story, because there are so many footnotes that are like adding onto the lore of the world, are so nice. Like, this is one giant footnote, and I've like read longer ones, so that's great. I'm super enjoying myself. I can't wait to like share my thought with the girl I'm buddy reading this with. So yeah, I think I will see you in the next vlog. Goodbye.